Hello, welcome to our reflections on Wednesday. I'm going to start by reading the passage set for today from my New International Version Bible. The trouble is, it's so little I can hardly see the actual writing, which is it's not insignificant with the reading, because actually, when we come to Mark chapter 8, as we now have done, it's all about the way in which the people couldn't see clearly. And this particular little passage is part of that. The Pharisees came and began to question Jesus. To test him, they asked him for a sign from heaven. He sighed deeply and said, "Why does this generation ask for a miraculous sign? I tell you the truth, no sign will be given to it." Then he left them. He got back into the boat and crossed to the other side. The disciples had forgotten to bring bread, except for one loaf that they had with them in the boat. I've strayed a little with that last verse into the next part of our readings. But I've added it because bread is a significant part of this particular story, and it arises out of a shortage of bread. I can just show you the inside of our bread bin. You can see that there's a similar shortage, which we will rectify. And Jesus rectified the shortage at the start of Mark 8 when he fed 4,000 people. In Mark 6, he'd fed 5,000 people. So he continually seems to be rectifying this lack of bread. And as we see right at the end, the disciples again didn't have any bread when they got in the boat at the end of the story. I want to just examine with you quite what you think Jesus was about, because he must have been so deeply frustrated at the way in which they seemed to either take him for granted or just, not get it. I love that bit where after the Pharisees test him by wanting a sign from heaven, he sighs deeply. That's how I imagine it was. That sort of frustration. This amazing person had just fed 5,000 people. He'd just fed 4,000 people. And they want a sign. I mean, where have they been? What do they think he's all about? A conclusive sign, as if there weren't enough indicators anyway. And I wonder Jesus got frustrated. I wonder if you can latch on to the way in which Jesus is frustrated in this story, and the way in which God may be continually frustrated with us. We try our best, don't we? Or do we? We go through the motions quite often, don't we? I've been preaching 40 years now. Thinking of Ian Andrews' reflection on Monday. Why do you preach? Because he's there. Echoing that wonderful phrase as to why people climb mountains, because it's there. Because he's there, because God's there, but also the congregation are there. And yet they still don't seem to get it. We preach and we preach and we preach, and somehow, does it make any difference? Maybe it does. Maybe in ways that we cannot ever measure. But how frustrating it sometimes is when, on the way out, some people say, "Didn't like your hymns," or, "Oh, I liked that one hymn, or they pick on something that wasn't quite what they wanted. We put our all into this. How frustrating sometimes it must be for God, who puts his all on the cross, in the manger. He puts the whole of himself into this thing that we call our human lives, and we just don't get it, or we take it for granted. So I hope that you will live your life today because he is there in a holy, godly, devout and discipling sort of a way. I hope that you won't take God for granted, or anything that we try to do in the circuit for granted. Anne and I are doing our best. 2 ministers only in our circuit. And sometimes it's taken for granted, or it's not appreciated. And it's tough. Live your life today in a godly, appreciative way. Don't let God keep on sighing deeply like Jesus did in this story. Always keep providing bread for one another and appreciate that which is given to you. Maybe God has something to say in this tiny little passage from Mark 8. Remember, it's about seeing clearly, and I hope that we do. May God bless you.